Welcome to another Leagues 4 video. You can follow this video's instructions on the first day of Leagues 4 to get an advantage over everyone else. Thanks to Red Shadowism for sending this to me. When you first log into Leagues, you'll have two tasks that the game forces you to do, and that's open the Leagues menu and complete the Leagues tutorial. And that's going to give you 10 points for each of those for a total of 20 points right off the bat. First, we're going to run out of Lumbridge Castle and get our Iron Man armor. Then, we're going to drop the air and mind runes that we have in our inventory and claim them from the magic tutor. Next, it's time for our first real task, pickpocket a man. Using the 3 GP that you got from the man, buy a hammer and a shears. Let's go back to the castle and bank everything. On your way to the bank, let's talk to the cook and start cook's assistant. And on the British first floor, talk to the Duke to start rune mysteries. That way, you can bank the package that he gives you. We're really close to our next task. Next, run back downstairs to the church and start Restless Ghost. Then, head into the graveyard and head into Death's office. That's a task, plus 10 points. Leave Death's office and head south to the fishing spot. Talk to this dude for a fishing net, and you'll be able to start fishing. There's a whole bunch of tasks involved here. Catching a shrimp is 10 points. Achieving your first level up, so level 2 fishing, will be 10 points. Getting your fishing to level 5 is 10 points. And getting your fishing to level 10 is also 10 points. If you did all these things, and by the way, it's going to be super fast with ×5 experience, you're going to be at 80 points so far. Keep fishing here until you have a full inventory of shrimp. I'm just going to pretend that that's what I have. We're going to do our next task, which is teleport to home. This is going to be another 10 points. Next, we can deposit the shrimp, keep the net in our inventory, and also withdraw a bronze pickaxe. Run back to the fishing spot and fish until you can catch an anchovy. If that means that you have to drop some shrimp along the way just to get to level 15, do it. Get your anchovy and get that task done. Catching an anchovy is another 10 points. That'll bring you to a total of 100 points so far. After you got your anchovy, just give yourself some room by dropping a couple and head over to the mine and mine a copper. This will be a 10-point task. You also want some tin, but it wasn't a task in the past. It's time to head back to Lumbridge, and when you're on your way, there's a house with a range. You're gonna cook some shrimp and get a couple of tasks done and out of the way while doing that. One is cook a shrimp, and the other is burn some food. Bank your fishing net, bank your pickaxe, give yourself enough room to take out your knife, bucket, shears, pot, tinderbox, and bronze axe. Equip the bronze axe, and your inventory should look something like this at this point. Next, head down to the bottom of the castle and pickpocket a man or a woman, or both, 28 times. You want to get a stack of 28 coin pouches in your inventory. One cute detail from this guide is that they made sure that we had food in the form of cooked shrimp in order to be able to accomplish getting 28 coin pouches. When you're level 1 or, well, low level in thieving, you do fail a lot. Once you get 28 coin pouches at once, you can click it and that'll be 10 points for you. Next, head over to the furnace and smelt a bronze bar. That'll be 10 points. 150 points so far, not bad. As we leave the blacksmith, let's just pretend that we don't have 92 thieving and we ate all of our shrimp along the way. We now have the inventory space to get a couple of logs and 20 wool. We might actually have to drop the coins here. That's fine. Now that we got our 20 wool, I realize what the logs are for. All we have to do is burn one and fletch the other. There was no reason to drop the coins earlier. You might as well keep those. Pick up an egg, milk a cow, and pick up a wheat. Turn your wheat into flour, and let's head back to Lumbridge. What's likely possible in Leagues is that you can open up the Leagues menu and use the lodestone, click the button to teleport back to Lumbridge rather than having to walk there. So keep an eye out for that. For me, I've spent so long recording this that I can teleport back to home again. Next, we're gonna finish Chef's Assistant, and then we're going to spin our balls of wool. Spinning a ball of wool is 10 points. Instead of turning the balls of wool into Farmer Fred, we are going to deposit all of them and take our raw shrimp out, head downstairs, and use them on the range that we just unlocked from having completed Cook's Assistant. Using this range is worth 10 points. Since this range has an increased rate of cooking food successfully, maybe you can complete your cook 5 pieces of food in a row successfully task for another 10 points. And now it's finally time to go back inside, get your balls of wool, and head all the way over to Farmer Fred to complete that quest, and that'll be another 10 points. Next, teleport back to Lumbridge and head to the cemetery. In the cemetery, you can talk to Count Check to teleport you to the Stronghold of Security, and then complete the entire Stronghold of Security. There's probably going to be so many people there doing it that you'll be able to run through without getting hit by monsters. You'll get your 10k, and at the end, you'll be able to choose your fancy or fighter boots for a plus 10 point task. Next, you can climb up out of the Stronghold of Security and you'll be conveniently pretty close to Edgeville, so let's go there. You'll have about 10k GP in your inventory at this time, so I made my inventory match. We're gonna head down into the Edgeville dungeon, make our way past some pretty strong monsters for when you're starting off the game. Do your best to survive. Once you've made it to Vanica, buy a spiny helmet and buy an enchanted gem. Ask him for an assignment. That's going to be 20 points right there because you've gotten a Slayer task and you've gotten a Slayer task from specifically Vanica. This brings you to a total of 250 points already. You can now check your assignment for an additional 10 points. There's all kinds of points right here. Next, we set our eyes on Varrock, but there's a couple of things to do along the way. Train your defense by killing 2 goblins. Defeating a goblin is worth 10 points. Killing 2 goblins should get you to level 5 defense, and you'll be able to equip a spiny helm. That'll be a 10-point task. Then, when you get both of your bones, burying 1 will be worth 10 points, but we'll keep the other one for later. We're gonna continue toward Varrock, run to the back of our house, and pick up 1 set of Dougal leaves. Run into Varrock and buy a fire staff. Equipping an elemental staff is 10 points. Next is the best part of RuneScape. Find a stray dog, pet it for 10 points, and give it bones for diary progression. Also for a diary, buy a newspaper. Next, head into the museum and do the quiz. The quiz is going to give you a whole bunch of experience, but also it's worth 10 points. And from the experience that you get from the quiz, you'll get your first level 20 skill for another 10 points. And while you're in the real estate house, make sure to pick up this saw. Next, head to the East Bank. You're going to want your runes and an axe. And it'll be useful to have 21 inventory spots open to be able to do Daddy's Home. Head over to the house, start it, and tear up all the furniture. While you're in the first part of the quest, also grab the 3 waxwood planks that you need and head outside. You should have to steal 17 teas in order to get to 15 thieving. And stealing a tea is worth 10 points. Next, use these rocks to safe spot a guard with magic. Train up your magic and do the task of defeating a guard for 10 points. On your way to the lumber mill, chop down 9 trees. And then get a 10th one from inside the lumberyard for the diary. While you're at the lumber mill, you'll continue the Daddy's Home quest. And turning a log into a plank is an easy task for 10 points. And you're gonna end up buying 5 bolts of cloth and a bunch of nails. You could technically beat this quest with 16 nails, but I recommend you get some more. Run back to the Daddy's Home house and finish the quest. After completing the mini quest, you'll get a whole bunch of experience and some useful items. You'll also get your first house, which is an easy task. Let's do a bit of a bank refresh. I'm just gonna deposit everything for simplicity. Bank the planks that you've just got from the Daddy's Home quest because you're gonna use those to repair the Fossil Island camp when the time comes. At this point, you want money, a chisel, and a tinderbox in your inventory. Head back to Lumbridge, and you'll go to Bob's axe shop to buy a steel axe. Next, head west out of the castle and to the farm spot. You're gonna buy a rake and rake the weeds. You can use the dialogue option with farmers to buy rake. So can you sell me something and rake right there. You'll do some more talking, 15 GP for one, and you have to accept it through dialogue and you'll get your rake. And yeah, this is being recorded in the main game, so I've got a tree here instead, but when you rake your first weeds, that'll be worth 10 points. While you're around here, you can chop more logs and eventually chop 1 oak log. Chopping trees with a steel axe is worth 10 points. You should also casually burn the logs as you go. The goal here is to burn 1 oak log. Next, we're heading really close to the Hab hideout. Head inside and you're gonna pickpocket for a while. You wanna get level 40 thieving, but your ultimate goal is to get a steel pickaxe and a guam leaf. In the meantime, there's all kinds of other interesting and useful things that they drop. So if they give you gems, you can craft them. And if they give you unpolished buttons, you can polish them for some more crafting experience. Iron ore is also a good one to keep, and you may as well start equipping the ham rope pieces that you get along the way too. Once you have the guam and the steel pick, you can clean the guam for an easy task for 10 points. At this point, you'll probably reach 100 total skill, which will be 10 points also. And once your thieving reaches level 30, you're gonna get your first
40
point task done, and then once you reach level 40, you'll get another 40 point task done. And what's cool about that is that at this point, you should reach the second relic, and now ×8 experience should start here. Head back into the Leagues menu and jump back to Lumbridge. Bank everything except for a steel pick and your Drawman staff, which you probably should have gotten for free at the beginning of the league. Next, we're heading to the Lumbridge swamp. A couple of interesting things to do here. When you head south of Lumbridge, the first thing that you'll do is mine some ore with a steel pickaxe. That's a 10-point task. And then head into Cineris for a 10-point task, and then exit for another 10-point task. And since we started Restless Ghost already, we can talk to Father Ernest for the Ghost Speak amulet. Next, run north to Draenor and reset at the bank. You should get your staff, your runes, your coins, and your package for the Rune Mysteries quest, which is represented here with a box trap. Also buy a Chronicle teleport. Head north to Draenor Manor. Once you enter Draenor Manor, you'll get 10 points for an easy task. Find your way out of Draenor Manor and head back down to Draenor. Once we're back in Draenor, we encounter the first major problem of this guide. I'm next instructed to climb this rooftop course, but I can't do that because this requires level 10 agility. This is Brian from the future, confirming that I was the one that was wrong here, and sorry to Red Shadowism, but you do start the league with 10 agility, so he's completely right. You can do the Draenor laps now. So do 30 Draenor laps, and if you want, you can do 20 more, but overall, it's a little bit of a waste of time because the task is to do 50 rooftop course laps. You don't have to do them all on one. You can save that for Varrock later, and you'll get the task done at that point. Complete a Draenor agility course lap for 10 points. Complete any rooftop agility course for 10 points. Obtain our first Mark of Grace for 10 points. Complete 50 rooftop agility course laps for 50 points, and complete 30 laps of specifically the Draenor course for another 50 points. So next, still in Draenor, we're going to talk to Morgan to start Vampire Slayer. Remember to head upstairs in this building to get yourself a garlic from this cupboard. Next, head to the Wizard's Tower, head downstairs to do the next step of Rune Mysteries, but head upstairs for the Lesser Demon. On the top floor of the Wizard's Tower, there's a Lesser Demon, and at this point in the league, there might be a line of people waiting to kill the Lesser Demon because it's worth a lot of good points. So if there's a line, respect the line. But this Lesser Demon's ridiculously important to kill because it's worth 50 points to kill this particular Lesser Demon. Let's just add another 40 points on there, assuming that a regular Lesser Demon kill is a medium task. Once you've killed the Lesser Demon, teleport with the Chronicle back to Varrock. At this point, you'll have 40 thieving and you'll be able to pickpocket guards. Pickpocketing a guard is worth 50 points. Pickpocketing a Varrock guard is worth 50 points. And make sure that you get yourself a stack of coin pouches, enough that when you open them, you can get 800 GP at once. That's 27 or 28 of these things. Obtaining 800 GP at once from a coin pouch is worth 50 points. Next, we head to the home base of everyone's free-to-play gang hideout, the Blue Moon Inn. I missed the door! Once you're inside the Blue Moon Inn, go to the bartender and buy a beer. Next, talk to Dr. Harlow and do the next step of Vampire Slayer. Get the stake, and you can bank it. Like, you're not gonna do Vampire Slayer immediately. You can just hold it for when you feel like doing it. Next, we're heading to Aubrey to do the next step of Rune Mysteries, and use the League menu to teleport back to Lumbridge. Once we're in Lumbridge, we can head back to the cemetery and do the next step of Restless Ghost, which is talking to the ghost inside of the coffin. Next, head back to the Wizard's Tower, go down the stairs, and start by getting the skull from the skeleton. Don't forget, the skeleton's going to attack you, but at the end, take his head. Then finish Rune Mysteries by talking to Archmage Cedrador, and then at the end, he's going to offer to teleport you to the Rune Mysteries mines. Accept the offer for 10 points. Completing the quest is also worth 10 points, and when you get the Air Talisman in your inventory, you can click on it to use the Locate feature, and that'll be worth 10 points too. For the final time of this guide, head back to Lumbridge using the League's menu. Once you're back in Lumbridge, you can take the skull to the last step of Restless Ghost and place the skull back into the coffin, you'll get a bunch of prayer levels. And that's going to give you access to the next task, which is drain your prayer by 5 points, head back into the church, and pray at the altar. That'll restore 5 prayer points at once, and that'll be an easy task for 10 points. And at your last trip to the bank in Lumbridge, take out your teleport to house tablet, break it, and if this guide worked correctly, entering your house would have been an easy task for 10 points, giving you exactly 1,000 points at this point. And when you're in your house, build any room for an additional 10 points. With everything listed in this video, you should have 1,010 points by the end of it. So huge thank you once again to Red Shadowism for these steps. I loved it. And if anyone else wants to show me their starter course, yeah, I'd be interested in checking that out.